Welcome to this video on process-based risk management. Process-based risk management is a pragmatic way to manage operational risk across an organisation. Risks can be seen in context, allowing the true impact to be understood. Controls can then be overlaid across business as usual. In our scenario, recent risk events reported in the news have caused concern for Andy, COO of a global bank. It has just been reported that one of their competitors has suffered a significant loss in their equities team, with personal accountability for their COO with the regulators. Andy wants to assess whether the same risk could manifest in his organisation. Andy logs into his executive dashboard and is met with an organisational view, complete with real-time KRIs. Seeing that the area of concern has a red alert, Andy drills into the underlying functions and geographies to pinpoint where the issue has occurred. He can then liaise with the risk champion for the region to find out what is going on. Mark is the risk champion for the area. Using Nimbus Control, he can drill through the organisational structure to the relevant geography and function where the potential losses are present due to ineffective controls. Once identified, he can look at the race information attached to the activity to see who is responsible and accountable. Mark can also drill into the control data. Mark liaises with Anna, the SME for the equities area, and during their discussion around the control gap, they identify that the process itself is missing a vital manual step and that there is no escalation if information is not present. Anna logs this as a change request within the system as evidence of their discussion and to kick off the change request cycle. This alerts the process owner, the equities director, to the requested change. A workshop is then arranged in order to ensure that the process is correctly documented. The control gap has been identified as needing fixing with a manual step. However, there is a project in place to automate this step using a new system. A scenario has been created that shows the automated rejection of trades that do not have the appropriate information. This is still being defined, so the manual step is still necessary within the process. Anna, our SME, has just attended the workshop to capture the correct process for validating incoming trade details. She sees a review request from the morning session in her email and follows the link to control. The new process looks good, so she signs off. The owner of these processes is John, the equities director. John receives an email requesting his sign-off on the amended processes. He can follow the link in his email to authorise these, signing them off for wider deployment. Now that the processes are authorised, the control gap can be addressed and resolved. During the workshop, this was raised as an action for Anna within Nimbus Control. Anna receives an email reminder of this. Following the link, she can see the failing control and all areas that this is linked to. The control is effective in the other areas, so there is a need for further investigation as to why the equities team have had the issue. Anna identifies that the new steps in the process have bridged the manual gap that was previously identified and can change the status of this control to satisfactory. Mark, our risk champion, can now go back to Andy and confidently let him know that the gap has been understood and addressed. Andy can see in his dashboard that the issue is within acceptable range and knows that the data he is looking at is current, accurate and deployed across the end user community. Once these processes are live, the wider team can access and attest that they understand them. Ben is a member of the shared services team in Mumbai. He and his colleagues have received an email asking them to attest to the change in the process. Ben logs into control and follows the storyboard of this new process. Whilst reviewing, he has a question regarding checklists. He is able to ask his question via Tibber, the bank's enterprise social networking platform. Once his question has been answered, Ben feels comfortable signing off that he understands this process correctly. All staff are now following the correct documented processes. They can see where controls exist and ensure that these are properly carried out to mitigate risk to acceptable levels. This ensures that management like Andy can know that the bank is being run in a way that is implementing the control framework practically, with clear responsibility and accountability in place. Internal audits can then carry out their review based on documented processes and controls. The fact that these are being updated and owned by the business means that there is no duplication of efforts gathering the data. Internal audit review the processes and look into the control design and effectiveness. They can document evidence of this completion and record any areas for improvement. In addition to this, the regulator has clear transparency of the organisation's processes. A complete audit trail evidenced in the control maturity and process review cycle shows that events happening in the business can be carefully monitored by senior management. They can then respond in a timely and dynamic manner.